let's hop on over to the draft to take a look. It's already underway here. Kubi, what are our
Sure,
bans?
I'll take you through this. We see that Stitches was banned out from Glorious as their first ban. SMG follows up with a ban on Tychus. Tychus is a very strong hero, so no surprise to see him banned there.
Stitches
is interesting. I don't think we've seen him banned out just yet.
It's really rare. It's happened, but like it's rare.
He is strong in this map. We've mentioned this in the past. There's a lot of advantages to having Stitches on Cursed Hollow. Not too surprising to see that they would ban him. I mean, like I said, we haven't seen it before, but it's not completely out of the question. So following up with this, we have a pick on Glorious. First pick is Vala. SMG follows up with Falstad and Nazebo. So they're going to take their hand at piloting the Ravenous Spirit. Glorious is going to take Tassadar.
Piloting the Ravenous Spirit. I like that. You just get in your little
it's kind of like when you're
machine.
like, all right, let's drive this guy. Let's beat up some dudes. All right. SMG is going to follow up with an Arthas Zeratul. Once again, we see Arthas taking him very late.
Yeah.
Third pick from SMG.
Oh, Candy Cane Murden. Is it happening? Are we going to see this beautiful skin here used by ZPs? I don't know if I've ever seen ZPs play Murden, but we saw this in the last series. We saw the Nazebo pick and the Murden counter pick. Yep. Now, Symbiote did not opt for a Murden counter pick, but it looks like Glorious is going for it. And I just want to point out, yes, the teams have swapped sides. Last game it was Symbiote on the left, or in Glorious on the right. It has swapped for this game because
that's something that the teams are more than welcome to request if they so choose. So they have decided to swap sides. All right, let's talk a little bit more about this draft because it gets a little crazy at the end here. Murden, a hero that we've only seen rise in popularity in this last patch. He had a considerable buff to his HP regen.
I think it's been confirmed that it's actually a bug. It is actually.
It is a bug?
It's still in the game.
Okay, because Blizzard has patched the game since this has gone through.
But I think it was actually confirmed by a CM that it is actually a bug. But we've said, all right, we're going to lit it in here because no one actually feels like he's that broken. Like he has basically his health regen went from 2.138 to 21.38.
Yeah.
And that's like
a little bit of a shifted decimal there, but it works. Murden is a very strong presence in lane early game. His trait, once he gets below, I think 40% of his HP regen kicks up even higher. So what you might see is some trades, unfavorable trades for Murden in the early game in the lanes, and then he can back up, let his trait kick in, and he's going to be regenning a ton of HP, so he doesn't have to tap that well. He doesn't have to hearth back to get back in lane, so he always is a very strong presence in lane.
Well, speaking about Murden, who's playing him
let's talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so for Glorious, we have ZPs playing Murden. We have Glaurung on Illidan. Cathan Luck will be playing Vala this game. Syracuse on Tassadar, and Nirak on Brightwing.
And on the other half of the map, we have Symbiote Gaming flipping to the red side. Dreadnought will be playing Arthas this game. Also an incoming warrior for him. He doesn't actually play a lot of Arthas Stitches.
Jake is, of course, kidding there. Dreadnought is known for his Arthas play.
I know.
All right, continue.
It's just not lately.
That's
but
true.
He is actually very well known for his Arthas play. Mad Timmy playing the Mad Fairy, and once again, Arthalon on Nazebo. Falstad will be played by KO, and Zeratul will be played by Soldier. So some pretty standard stuff.
All right, let's take a look at what we have in terms of lane arrangements. Typically, we'll see one of the teams. It's usually a 1-1-3 split. That seems to be common that we're seeing here. And Glorious is running that type of configuration right now, and we'll have to see how SMG decides to react to that.
Yeah, I mean, 3 in the bottom lane. For these guys here on the side of Glorious, they're going to want to get that pressure on now. It's interesting that they chose to put Murden and Brightwing together, and I think they're looking for the hyper lockdown, the stun followed by the poly with the massive amount of damage coming out of Cathan Luck.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push really, and like we were talking about the HP regen, he's going to be able to soak tower shots, like any damage that he takes, especially with Brightwing regening, like it's
insane how quickly he's going to have so much HP. He's actually going to tap the well, mainly for the mana. Pretty early tap there. But again, he wants to keep up the aggression. He wants to burn those towers' ammos and get some towers down early, because getting the towers down early is a lot of experience. And getting an experienced lead is really, what you want to do on this map, because having an advantage for each and every tribute fight is crucial.
Right. So we did see that Zeratul was poking up top lane with Arthas, and Illidan is not necessarily known to be the strongest laner, so if they might be able to catch him out of position, and Arthas is certainly capable of cleaning up lanes, so we may see some heavy pressure on the top lane coming out of SMG, and I would expect that the bottom lane will go in favor of Glorious, so perhaps we'll see some towers trading out some damage. And of course in the last patch, Blizzard has distributed the experience gained in each lane. It's not all on the fort now. Each tower has taken a bit of the experience, so killing those towers early actually means something.
It means quite a bit. It really does. Getting that experience. And this first tower is going to go down pretty soon here. We see the rotation from Soldier trying to do a lot of damage here. The Wall of the Dead is actually going to slow him down, but he jumps right over it because he is more dwarf toss. Just leaps away.
Wow.
And the tower, it survives to see in about another 30 seconds.
Okay. Triple gathering power coming out of SMG here. That's going to be on Nazeebo, Falstad, and Zeratul. Now, those aren't necessarily uncommon picks, but the way the gathering power works is you get a flat 12% increase to your ability power. Every kill that you get, up to 6 kills, you get an additional 2% ability power. So you want to stay alive to get that full 20% bonus to all of your spell shots. And all of those heroes, they rely so much on their skill shots, so they're not really known as heavy auto attackers. So that's something we're going to keep in mind looking forward.
Yeah, big rotation. 3 members down here that want to keep this alive as long as they can. The tribute has spawned in the top part of that map, and we do see them rotating up. Now, Brightwing will stay as long as she can, soaking this lane, doing any kind of damage she can, as she can phase shift to the top lane instantaneously. Right. We might not even see her rotate up, as it looks like Symbiote might get this for free, but no, the Tassadar are able to stall out. Mega Tassadar at that Syracuse with that fancy...
I like the match on the mount there. So yeah, we see the extra range there from Tassadar on the Storm, so we can poke all day. And it's we're going to have to see a major rotation coming from SMG to deal with that.
Yeah, so it's 3v3 like we've seen in each game here on Cursed Hollow. Every time it's just 3v3. Medtib able to zone pretty well with Moonfire. Moonfire costs him almost nothing to use, so he's just going to keep doing that. It's got a short cooldown.
High range.
And Soldier is up here now, though, so they should be able to say, hey, look, Soldier's missing. Glowing staying in the middle lane, trying to get that, and they're just keeping the zone here. ZP's throwing those hammers. The Storm going down continuously.
Yeah, I was going to say, while they had Zeratul up there, they're going to have to make a hard push because you cannot stay out of lane for very long, especially since this recent patch. Creeps give a ton of experience. So they moved up, rotated up. Soldier did on Zeratul, said, I don't really see a position here for us to really dive in.
Oh my goodness, Syracuse taking a lot of damage, though. Has to phase shift out of here, backing on up. Soldier goes forward, and they actually get the kill. The Singularity Spike,
yeah. Yes. It has a bit of a delay on its... we've seen that a couple times now. People retreat back behind their walls, but the bomb pops off. Did get the kill on Syracuse there,
that's huge.
Big ups to SMG for taking that one. And they do find themselves at a bit of an experience lead because of that kill.
Well, Arthlon is going to be pressured pretty hard here, but he's just going to back on up. Flowering going to try to do the damage, but not going to be enough. And Arth will just find Giants taken here by the bribe of Falstad. He does have bribe? Yes, he does. Yep. And, well, we saw Brightwing shifted on up here. It looks like they're going to be trying to do something here. Oh, nope, just using him at his body for the bribe as well. So Giants on each side of the map.
Okay, so we do see even golem pressure. That's going to be good to counteract the push that's been going on bottom lane for SMG.
Yep.
And we'll have to see if they decide to push with it on top for Glorious.
And with KO pushing here, I mean, KO's damage output, he's going to get that. Look at that. Tower's gone immediately. Like, he says, look, you took one of our towers. Time for payback.
So it looks as though they're trying to take their knights. Glorious is. Soldier is well aware of this. Poking.
Soldier is all alone here with 3 members on the opposite side. He does have Blink, and he'll be able to get out of here just fine. But a nice little cheeky play, forcing them out of the lane, and they're losing a little bit of experience in return.
Yeah, so of course we can see that Soldier was sort of just doing reconnaissance there. He has a Blink that can teleport over any pathing issues they may run into there. So you'll see that time and time again, just doing a bit of reconnaissance. If he felt the position was right to call his teammates over to try and get a kill there, maybe so. But there's very little risk to see him that far forward.
Well, KO is a little bit, he knows he might not be super safe here. Glaurung is waiting for him to get a little bit too far forward. Glaurung sees his opportunity. He's going in right away, using the minions to flip forward. But KO is going to be just fine as he actually turns around to retaliate.
Yep. We do have heroics up for both teams right now. Of course, Ravenous Spirit is taken by Arthlon on Nazeebo. We have Shock and Awe, no surprise there. Void Prison, Tranquility, and Army of the Dead. Those are all pretty standard heroic picks for those heroes. And on Glorious's side, we have Avatar. Of course, that's going to be, we're going to see a lot of that in conjunction with the Dwarf Toss so that he can leap in to try and interrupt Ravenous Spirit, which is really the kingpin of SMG's strategy here. Glaurung on Illidan is taking Metamorphosis just for that extra HP, and so he can dive in to try and get those fights in his favor. We see Strafe, Archon, and Emerald Wind. All of those very standard picks.
Yeah, very standard stuff indeed, and I just want to point out, like, we have 1 level advantage here already for SMG, and that's strictly because push. They've gotten 1 extra set of towers. Actually, I think maybe 3 towers over the 1 that has been taken, or maybe 4 over 1 for SMG. So they have a 1 level advantage. Tribute spawning here, they're up 2-0 on the tributes. So it's crucial for Glorious to stop this tribute from giving them the curse.
Soldier, I thought, was putting himself in a position to try and get a nice Void Prison there.
They're still poking around. Matt Timmy, very, very, far forward here. Like, he's actually has no fear. He says, look, I can root you here, and then just back on up.
Both teams, they're poking in and out. Arthon's looking for a nice position to throw up that Ravenous Spirit to get a lot of damage down. You see ZP's is very far forward. He's looking to just get that leap immediately. As soon as he sees the Ravenous Spirit, he's going to jump over and try to stun him out of it. And that's why you see both teams sort of just pushing back and forth, playing a little bit of footsies, trying to just feel each other out and get that right position. But we see Glarong jumping in
with a Metamorphosis and a lot of damage going down. We see that we have the Trick Flip going down almost immediately, and the Shock and Awe is actually interrupted at the last possible second by ZP's. Nice enough done, but ZP's does in fact fall. Straight is doing work right now, but he's falling back as well. Dreadnought in the front line with the
Shock and Awe back up.
Oh my goodness, the Shock and Awe is on point after the 10 seconds of the stun there. It is back up. Syracuse getting locked in by the Wall of the Dead, but all three members that are still alive need to back up, and Soldier says, no, you're my buddy. And KO goes for it and gets 1 kill. Will he get 2 kills? No, he does not manage to get Nirak.
I love it.
The aggression.
The timing of it was so perfect. He knew there was very little risk for him to jump. Even behind the towers, it probably would have been all right.
With the curse?
Yeah, because the curse, it shuts off the ammunition from the tower, so he knew that it was a risky thing to do normally, but because they had the curse, they were able to push forward, leap, fly over the enemies, try to secure that kill. It worked out perfectly. Really, really nice heads-up play from KO.
Awesome play. They get the curse. They get the golem. They're going to rotate up to the middle lane to take out that fort. Arthlon's already here, and the golem will absolutely obliterate this bottom fort as well.
Strong position for SMG moving forward here. They're probably going to get a lot done with this. I imagine that the bottom golem will be able to take out that fort. Unless the entirety of Glorious pushes down, it does not appear to be the case. I imagine they will get that fort.
Oh yeah, it's going down for sure. This golem is as healthy as it gets, and Glorious is here with 2 of their members, but that's not enough to defend a tower that has no ability to shoot, and 3 members SMG. Falstad rotating around, looks like he might be flying up to the top lane. Fly's actually probably still on cooldown, so he actually has to, flap his wings like a normal bird, a peasant bird, if you will.
So we see that the curse is expiring here. They were able to get a fair amount of work done for a sub 10-minute curse. Taking 2 forts or even pushing out a lane. That's always good if you can get that. So again, strong position from SMG. They were able to capitalize quite a bit on that, and they are rotating up to take their golem. Now has to get even more of a push on top lane.
Glorious has to know this, but SMG, they saw Vala in the bottom lane. They have minions in the bottom lane. Vala was actually fighting them, so they're well aware there. That at least Vala is not there, so they're completely safe taking it. So we see Glorious, they were kind of indecisive. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Do we grab Knights? And now they see this is being taken. They should actually rotate and grab their Knights.
Yeah, and you saw that as soon as they poked forward, that one hero, I think it was Illidan, poked forward. It's like they didn't even flinch.
Yeah,
they knew exactly where the other team was. So I think that was the idea, to try to slow them down, maybe just to get them to reconsider. But there was no need.
Yep. I mean, if you have vision on at least one member that's on the other side of the map, it's like, okay, we're perfectly safe. Yep. Golem going to take up this top fort as well. All 3 forts are going to fall here for Glorious at this point in time, where all 3 forts do remain for SMG. SMG with a 2-level lead.
Yep. And they see that they have a position. They know that Glorious has to respond to that golem top lane. They can take the aggressive enemy team Knights. They're probably going to push out mid lane. I don't see why not. Maybe grab a couple towers while they're at it.
Right now, look at the map. It's so red. Like, everything is going in favor of SMG.
Glorious really needs to find a position where they can take a favorable team fight, and they really need to execute on the Meridian's part to make sure that they can shut out that Ravenous Spirit, because it did a lot of work in that team fight. They were able to get rid of the Shock and Awe on Falstad there, but when you interrupt the startup, the channel of those types of heroics, they get a 10-second cooldown. I think Falstad Shock and Awe is one of them. There are a few others, but Ravenous Spirit is not one of them. If you interrupt Ravenous Spirit, it is done. So that's really what they're ideally going for, and it just didn't happen fast enough in that last team fight. So
right, yeah, because I mean the difference being once Ravenous Spirit is out, it's functioning. It's already being quote unquote used.
Exactly.
But Shock and Awe is charging up, so if any of the heroics that are being charged up, if they're interrupted during their charge, it puts it on a 10-second cooldown. And you know what? Even though it was interrupted there, we saw use of it later in the fight, and it just pulled them apart.
It worked. And I was watching to see like how much of an effect that would have, and they just weren't able to clean up the rest of the fight. And Shock and Awe did get a ton of work done.
Now, since they got the curse, their tributes are reset to 0.
Yep.
So both teams are at 0 tributes, even though 3 have been collected here for Symbiote Gaming. Now, Glorious needs to go forward. They try to get Arthlon out of position, and they go forward with Glarong. Glarong does have Metamorphosis. The Void Prison is a big one, and Metamorphosis goes down, but he's going to be able to survive this. He uses First Aid. He uses everything in his power to try to stay alive. Metami actually grabs Ice Block and uses it in the last possible second. The Emerald Wind was actually worthless. It's just absolutely nothing. Cathanlock is going to fall. Syracuse is going to fall as well here. KO just turns around and burns him down, and ZP's, oh my goodness, ZP's actually gets the trade there, but does it matter? Glaurung!
Soldier blinking out,
my goodness, I was actually like, what happened? He flipped and blinked. That was very confusing. Soldier gonna blink.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
Spikes almost got the kill, but no. Actually going into enemy territory and getting obliterated by those towers. Wow. 5-1.
The way that fight started, I wouldn't have guessed that would have been the result.
Nazeebo lived. That's the crazy part.
I know.
Nazeebo lived.
Yeah, the position that he had above the wall, he was just so far away from the rest of his team. I think he was expecting Glorious to rotate down below to take the tribute from the bottom side of the fight, and they all just rotated top. It's like, oh crap, I'm really far away from the rest of my team. So they ended up having to jump in to save them with the VP and everything. So. Pretty nice way to turn around there for SMG in that team fight.
And another thing that's really cool is just like Malfurion, again, I like to talk about Malfurion. I like talking about supports in general because I'm a support player, but we saw the aggression going on Malfurion. He popped Tranquility, and as soon as he got low, he just popped Ice Block. And Tranquility is still healing around him with Ice Block on. So it's like, not only can you not stun it, you can't kill him at that point. He's healing up his team. It's such a hard hero to deal with in that kind of scenario.
Yeah, and they had to turn away from him so that at the time the Ice Block had finally come off, he was, the rest of the team was so far away, he basically got away unscathed.
This is probably, I'm just thinking about Glorious's team in general, and when you think of the amount of lockdown they have with Wall of the Dead, Howling Blast, and Root, it's just so terrifying. And it's working out so well in this match. I mean, we see they're trying to get in here again. They need to find a member out of position again. They need to get that perfect initiation with ZP's on Muradin. He gets the double stun here with the Golem, trying to get a stun as well. Hits nothing. Strafe doing so much work here by Kavon Lock. No one's interrupted at all. The Void Prison does lock up people out. The Shotgun does a lot of damage. ZP's needs to back up here. He's healing up rather quickly, going back on in. Malfurion with the heals, though. I mean, this Ravenous Spirit is just going to town.
Very smart of ZP's to take the piercing Stormhammer. He was able to. You can't body block the stun shot, so that was heads up to him. He was able to deal with the Ravenous Spirit sort of well enough, but the rest of the team fight just went so poorly that Glorious was forced to back up here. And they do pick up a kill on the Brightwing. And
they get past
They shouldn't be pushing forward, in my opinion. This is so risky.
Well, it doesn't look like they care, but ZP's gets the stun of Soldier. Soldier is like no fear right now. I mean, he actually stepped back forward when he should be running away. All 5 up with 2 down on the side of Glorious, and they're just going to take another golem here on their side. I mean, the tribute has been sitting up this whole time, but it's been so far out of the position.
Yeah, because the tribute count for both teams is 0 and 1, respectively, for Glorious and SMG. It's not of consequence to grab this tribute immediately. I mean, we see Falstad flying up to deal with that right now, but him grabbing this, it's not worth anybody missing the team fight to do that.
And KO gets it just before Glaurung arrives with Kavon Lock. KO is actually going to tap the well. Will he live, though? Brightwing coming in. It's not going to be able to live through this.
Okay, so that's nice. That's the kind of those are the kind of plays that they need to start making in order to come back in this game. We see a really nice position from ZP's.
Oh, and the strafe is huge. The Root locking them down for a little while, but is it enough? They're already missing 1 member here. The Emerald Wind immediately knocks him out. Was Ravenous Spirit used there? Is it on cooldown?
Yep.
Oh my.
Yes, yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't. It just came up cooldown. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I thought it might have been used and knocked out right away, but I guess not. Ravenous Spirit completely chased them out of here, using it. Look at the range on it.
Oh, that's right. The Root.
Oh, my goodness. The Root is so big, and ZP's is very, very low, but the heals are real.
Okay, all right. So the reason that he lived there, actually, he took Stone Form, which is a level 16 talent. He heals 50% of his maximum health over 8 seconds. So he took that. He popped Avatar, which gives you an extra HP buff. That was the reason that he lived there. He
used everything.
He did. He used, and it's a fairly long cooldown. So.
And, what did they trade? They traded 2 members for, I guess they got 2 in return. Yeah. Oh, just KO. They just got KO, and they traded 1 or 2 members, and a curse, and a keep. So, all in all, not defending the keep, trying to get that tribute.
And really they're giving up another golem because of the position that it left them in. So,
I mean, SMG pushing further ahead, it seems. Now, 1 more tribute, and it's a curse for SMG. They're going to grab these knights. It looks like, no, they were considering giving it up, but they're saying, no, let's get there. Let's end this now. If we can grab this curse, this could get us the win, because with a golem and a curse, that's a huge power push.
Yeah. And this is it's a nice party push. They, of course, can't see them inside the grass there.
Oh, my goodness, but Falstad, Mr. KO falls almost immediately. They're not going to have him again here. Matt Timmy has to ice block, and he has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He actually just cannot leave here. He's trying to live with Tranquility. Already used ice block, but he's going to fall. Soldier coming in the back. Glaurung is getting so low. The Army of the Dead is actually just chasing him, but the Emerald Wind was huge, pushing everyone out of position, forcing a disengage out of Symbiote, and they've lost 2 members when, no one has died here on the side of Glorious. Look at Glaurung, so very low, barely getting out.
That was it was just very, very solid positioning from Glorious, and those are the kind of plays they need to make. They knew that they wanted to really push to end the game. They had, of course, while all this is going on, it's hard to call it a loss because you have so much push coming out of the golem, but he didn't kill the keep.
Yeah,
so it's not the end of the world.
They defended the curse. And the golem effectively, and they won a team fight, so it's a win.
Yeah, definitely. But it was nice positioning because they knew that SMG was going to try to take a good position. They were up about a level and a half there, so why not? Why wouldn't they push to try and take this curse? They said, all right, we'll hide in this grass here and try to get the jump on them, and it worked. They didn't have quite everybody in position at the time. They were able to solidify or get Malfurion out of position. They pulled them out.
A lot of that was ZP's locking Malfurion down.
Yeah.
Just removing Malfurion from the fight was huge. Just that. You'd think so many Muradins, they want to save their Dwarf Toss to get on Nazebo, but he's like, look, if I can stop Malfurion, that's good enough, and it worked out.
Yeah, we'll see if they can set up another play like this for this tribute here. Of course, SMG, once again, they're going to want to try to grab this because this will be their 3rd tribute. This will get them a curse. They can, at the very least, push down and take the 2 remaining keeps if they take an advantage in this team fight. So we're going to see them poking for this. Glorious doesn't seem to have found such an advantageous position like they did in the last one.
Yeah, they're just stalling it out right now. We see that Soldier is on his way back down as Zeratul. He was kind of hunting around, making sure nobody was out of position. He is invisible for a good chunk of the time. Oracle used, and a lot of just looking around. Dread taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Dread's had enough of this. He's walking in.
Oh my goodness, the root goes down, the poly goes down. Dread backing up, Glaurung coming in, but Glaurung has to be careful. Ravenous Spirit is used on the far side, and we see ZPs immediately start running down. The tip of the Emerald Wind is enough to knock him out of that. Void Prison goes down, and immediately all the members of Glorious just jump in the Void Prison. But is this the right call? So much damage is being done so quickly. We see the Strafe just kind of taking names right now against Symbiote Gaming. Arthlon very, very low. Glaurung, is he going to be able to get through this? Do we have the Howling Blast? Howling Blast hits both of them! The spiders are going to town. Cthulhu is going to fall. Glaurung is going to try to get out of here, but ZP is getting very low as well.
He's got another 3 seconds on Howling Blast. Will he be able to?
Oh, he's trying to get the juke.
Oh, that was
really
quite... Oh, yeah, there it is.
Howling Blast does, in fact, get the kill, and that is almost an ace. It is finally an ace, yes.
There it is. And...
It looked good. The Emerald Wind disrupting the Ravenous Spirit is what they needed.
They had the right start to the team fight. Everything was in good position. But then we had actually a pretty nice Void Prison coming down. It was protecting, or it was sort of zoning out a lot of Glorious. And the rest of the team fight sort of just spiraled out of control based on that.
This is where I sit back, zoom out, and look at the screen as Symbiote Gaming is going to close out the series versus Glorious 2-0.
It was all SMG there. 17 kills to 4. There's no other way to spin it. Glorious had the leg up on a couple team fights. They were able to get a couple pickoffs, but they weren't able to chain in a couple of those together. It's really what they needed to do to try to work their way back into the game. It's a couple nice attempts there, but SMG stayed solid, and they were able to just push through and take the win.
It was... we saw Nazebo flip hands. We saw Zeratul flip hands.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of heroes going on both teams in different play styles, but SMG just coming out on top pretty convincingly, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was very solid play from SMG. So we see the SMGs ready in the finals. They want that rematch against C9 Maelstrom. We'll have to get an update on the bracket for you guys, see if C9 did advance over Clairvoyant Gaming, and I'm looking at the bracket now. They did deed with a 2-0.
Wow.
So we have a rematch, guys. SMG, the last and only time that they played against Cloud9 Maelstrom, they fell 2-3 in the finals of Kings of the Storm weekly number 5, I believe it was. So Symbiote, they've been training hard. They looked really solid last week. We didn't see Cloud9 Maelstrom enter the tournament last week, so here we have our rematch, guys, and a lot's on the line. This is going to be a good one. So make sure you stick around to check it out.
This is grand finals happening in the winners finals. This is as good as it gets because these are the teams to beat. These are the top dogs. Symbiote has won event after event after event and only got dethroned by Cloud9 Maelstrom the first time Cloud9 Maelstrom ever played in Kings of the Storm. So this is like the Yankees and Red Sox back in the last time I followed sports. I don't know what it's like nowadays.
You made a grave mistake referencing sports.
Physical sports, I call them. But let's take a look at the bracket here to see their journeys. We see that Symbiote actually went over ESV Tempest and then Glorious, as we saw right now, and on the lower half of the bracket. We haven't seen C9 Maelstrom play it today, but they 2-0'd Evil Geniuses, and then they 2-0'd Clairvoyant, advancing to the winners finals. Now, there is a losers bracket.
Yeah.
We don't have an image of that, but if you go to kots.challenge.com and look at Kings of the Storm 4, you can see it yourself.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a quick overview of that. So we see ESV Tempest versus Wildfire. I believe ESV Wildfire is moving on in that side of the bracket, and we see 2 Arc over Evil Geniuses. So we will have, on the loser side of things, 2 Arc versus Glorious. That should be a good match. And ESV Wildfire versus Clairvoyant.
Wow. Stacked games.
We have a lot of really good teams here today, so a lot of good action. Unfortunately, we can't cast all of it, but we'll be releasing replay packs following this tournament, so perhaps you guys will see some of the other community casters casting those games for you guys to check out.
For sure, man. Well, we're going to get ready. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we're going to get ready for our winners finals. Now, again, that is, in fact, Symbiote Gaming versus Cloud9 Maelstrom. So if you're not excited yet,
I'm excited.
You need to get excited, and you need to get ready. Get your food now.
Yeah, get your popcorn.
Now.
Are you kidding me?
Get your one popcorn.
One popcorn.
One popcorn. If you get more of that, it's kind of too extreme. And guys, tell your friends, tell your family about this, because Heroes of the Storm, a game going into closed beta next month, January 13th. It's a very young game, but it's a very exciting game.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in alpha for, almost 3/4 of a year now. Maybe a little bit more than that. This right here, this next match coming up, might be the most pivotal that we've seen to date.
Of the alpha.
Yeah,
period.
You guys need to check this game out and make sure that anyone else that is a Heroes fan is watching.
And one thing I want to stress is that winning this match is crucial, because even though you're still in the tournament, you have an advantage going into the grand finals. If you win the winners bracket, if you win this next best of 3 series, you start in the grand finals with a 2-0 advantage.
In a best of 7.
In a best of 7. So it's a best of 7. So first to 4 wins, you start halfway there because you haven't lost a series yet. So it's a big advantage. So it's going to be a big one, guys.
Yep. All right, so we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll check you guys in a little bit.
See you then.